Whoosh, we're back. Squeeze the Neck podcast. Today I'm far east, north, wrong side of the river, but we'll get to that in a minute with my new mate Daniel Sam. Thanks a lot for doing this, mate.
All good?
Yeah, very good, mate. As you can see behind us, Black Diamond Gym. Before we get into anything about your career and whatnot, mate, tell us about your gym. Where are we?
We're in the heart of Ilford, Ilford Town Centre. I've been wanting to open a gym for the longest while, you know, where I was fighting and focusing on fight career and stuff like that. It wasn't really a priority, but afterwards, you know, since COVID and then, you know, I'm not fighting so much, I thought, okay, it's time for me to try and give back to people that want to learn, fighters, you know, give my knowledge and experience if I can, and also help the community. You know, I've worked for 13 years at a youth project, and I've got a big passion about helping young people recognise their potential, learning about themselves, and I've learned to do it through martial arts, and I've seen thousands of kids do it through martial arts, and I thought, you know, I want to be here in Ilford. You know, there's lots of things going on in Ilford where a facility like this can help the younger generation. So that's where it's at. It's taken a long time to get to this stage, you know, a very long time, a lot of hard work, sleepless nights and stuff, you know, lots of stresses, but it's worth it so far. You know, it's something that I can give my energy, my passion, and help out everyone as much as I can.
Boom, I like it, mate. So before we get and sort of go through things and whatnot, for anyone who doesn't know, believe former heavyweight champion of the world in Muay Thai.
Yeah.
So, but, sorry, just to cut you off, but like, heavyweight champion of the world, like, that's a nice title to start off with, bro. Tell us about it.
I won the title out in 2013 in Thailand as part of a reality show, the Infusion reality show in Koh Samui, Thailand, which is, you know, paradise. There was a 16-man tournament, 4 fights, 3 fights in one day, fighting against guys from, I think the first fight was an Australian guy. And then on the final show was a Dutch guy who'd had 150 odd fights, experienced Dutch guy, a guy from Ivory Coast who was bigger than I was, and I remember hitting him with shots and bouncing backwards, hitting him with shots, and then a Moroccan guy. So, you know, winning 3 fights in one night, all the fights going the distance, so 9 rounds in one night of action, you know, similar to the old K1 style, and then, you know, got the crown at the end of it. So yeah, that was, you know, that was a lot of hard work went into that, and it was, yeah, obviously something to be happy and proud about, of course.
That lasts forever, doesn't it? Heavyweight champion of the world, that sounds real cool. But as with this podcast, I don't know if you've seen any, mate, I jump all over the place. So whatever comes to mind, I ask and we go from there.
Yeah,
so,
that's cool.
As I say, Ilford, take us back, mate. Where are you from originally?
I was actually born, I was born in Newham General, but I grew up in Ilford, went to school over in Wanstead, spent some time in Hackney living over there for a bit, but I spent most of my time in Ilford, so I know the area. You know, I've seen this place change from the 1980s and seen, you know, a lot of changes going on here. You know, you see the redevelopments and all these flats that are everywhere. You know, this is a different place to what it was when I first moved here. Done my training in Tottenham, I've trained in Amsterdam, but, you know, this for me is, you know, this is home, obviously. And I've seen a lot of things worked here, run these streets, you know, run around on these streets for years. So yeah, Ilford is it.
Ilford's home, is it? Because Ilford's Nigel Benn's home as well. Is that where Nigel Benn comes from?
He's from the other side, yeah.
He's from the other side, right. But like growing up, was you into martial arts early, or was this a later thing? Because some people get into Muay Thai a bit later, obviously, because the clues in the name is from Thailand, isn't it?
Yeah. No, this for me was later. You know, as a youngster, for me it was cricket. My dad's my dad's from Caribbean. Both parents from the Caribbean, and, you know, it's reggae music and cricket and dominoes and stuff. So yeah, I was playing cricket from 6, 7 years old, under 11s, playing. I actually was playing county cricket for Essex. So yeah, that was me up until, you know, you got a bit older, and I realised I don't really want to be wasting the Saturday and the Sunday on the cricket field. You know, there's more fun things to be doing. And then I didn't start martial arts Muay Thai until 21, and then went on.
So
from
late
there.
in the game, really.
Yeah, it was late in the game, so didn't start from there. But, you know, became obsessed with it, and it changed decisions I was making in life, and then just carried on with it, and it progressed. And
And was you good from the off? Did you have a talent for it straight away?
I was big from young, you know.
Right.
Well, when I started, so I was big from my age, and then going into the gym in Tottenham. You know, there was a good hard gym that we used to train at there with Crew Vinny at the time, and I'm not saying I was natural at it, but, you know, because I remember going in there and at first not knowing my left from my right and going in there, but trying and having a lot of power and just trying to focus on learning some skills and techniques. But I was a keen learner, you know, and a strong resilience. So even though I got beat up every Sunday in sparring, vomiting on the side of the ring, you know, I've made people vomit in here, but I've experienced that myself every single Sunday. We asked the guys, you know, the originals that were there with me in Tottenham, every single Sunday I was there, and the vomit being throwing up, and learnt from that. But, you know, just kept going, and then, you know, got better, I
Yeah,
suppose. And
of course. And was it, how early into your sort of, I was going to say career, but how early into it was it like a career for you? Did you want it to be like, was you focused on being a world champion in like early doors or not?
No, it wasn't. For me, it was just something to do at first. I went in and tried. I always wanted to do boxing of some sort, but I don't think I ever had like the courage or the discipline to actually go in. I remember walking into a boxing gym years ago when I was about 13 or 14. Me and my mate, we went into the Ruskin Arms boxing gym, and I think they made us do like the running warm up, and we was running out on the streets around Green Street, and I just remember like running half the way and just like, no, let's just go, and we just like turned off the side road and just left. I was like, I wasn't, that wasn't for me, but no, it's been, I don't know, like I didn't I wanted to box, but I knew I didn't have it in me to actually do it at first, and then got into it and I realised, okay, I actually like this. It wasn't so much boxing, it was the kicks as well. When I realised, okay, the kicks are dangerous, knees are dangerous, elbows are dangerous, and then it's like, okay, we just carried on with it, and had my first fight after, what was it, about 9-10 months of training, just like an amateur fight, and won that fight. I actually remember winning that fight by stoppage, and that was, for me, it was just, okay, the obsession was there. I just wanted to, train, and I don't think it wasn't until I had my first serious fight against Dylan White, and I lost that fight. That's back when he was doing kickboxing, and that for me was when, okay, I needed to make a change, and I couldn't be training and wanting to fight and still smoking weed. That's, first and foremost, it couldn't run.
Yeah.
So, that was the first thing I really had to realize, there's no, you can stop 3 or 4 weeks before the fight and you're going to be okay. No, it had to stop, And that for me, was the first kind of big change that I made in my training and in my life, where I realized, okay, if I can focus my energy into martial arts, I can make positive changes, which I did. And then that kind of carried me through. And that's one of the things I realized in terms of helping others. You can make so much positive changes in your life. And then after that, it just kept going. It wasn't so much like for the money of it, but it just kept going. More fights and more experience and just the hunger of wanting to fight. And then, realizing, okay, I can go across the world and fight and actually get paid for this. That's when it's okay, yeah, you can do. The money wasn't great at first, but it was a case of, you get to travel, you get paid travel, put up in nice hotels and turned up at fights, and people want pictures with you, and you're getting into the ring and all of that, and it's like, okay, this is actually quite good, and then it just went forward.
Yeah, that's cool, because I think when you hear people's story like that, where it's more of a sort of like a hobby and it just turns into something, it seems like the energy of what they do is better. Do you know what I mean? Whereas there's a lot of people, I'm sure you know as well. You touched on like Dillian White's a boxer, not him necessarily, but I know a lot of boxers that are kind of, they've done it for money. Do you know what I mean? They're stressed out. I think when you go into it for the passion, you see in Thailand, you're doing all that. That's got to be a fun start, innit?
Yeah.
And you touched on it earlier. You said like you was a big lump. You're obviously a big lump. How big are you?
Right now, a bit heavier than I should be. I used to fight at between 115 and 120.
And what are you, 6'5", 6'4"?
6'5",
yeah. So a big old lump from the off anyway,
yeah,
would it? Because and the reason I bring that up is because a lot of times with heavyweights, like you kind of touched on it when you were saying about smoking weed and a lot of heavyweights can almost just like do what they like because they go, well, I'm not cutting weight anyway. Exactly. I'll just eat what I want, do what I want. What was it like for you? Was you sort of on the whole, where you said like you stopped smoking weed and whatnot, was you on the whole healthy eating vibe and all that business as well?
Not really, no. Obviously, I used to try and eat clean because, you want your body fueled the right way when you're training and stuff. And my coach was always on trying to push me to eat healthy and as much as possible. But, I used to work on the doors as well. And I was working an office job as well as working on the doors and doing my training as well. So, there's times when you finish, you're working from 9 p.m. until 3, 4 o'clock in the morning next to a kebab shop. This is when I used to eat meat, working next to a kebab shop. So by 4 o'clock in the morning, when you finish and you're tired and you're hungry, it's like, okay, what can I eat? The guy who owned the shop used to train with us as well. So he would be over there, getting free food and, you're getting chips and all that shit at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So it's not the healthiest, but... as exactly what you said, as a heavyweight, you don't really need to watch your diet. You fight anyone at any weight, so it's not really the problem. There's times couple of times I've fought in Romania, and I remember being on the scales over here. The fight would be on the Saturday, and I'd be leaving here on the Thursday at like 116, 117 kilos. Fly there the next day, and Romania is, the food over there is lovely, and so I'm eating and I'm getting on the scales a day later at 120, 121, putting on 3-4 kilos in transit from the UK, where obviously, you get the lighter fighters, they're starving themselves, they're cutting weight, they're trying to get the last couple of kilos off. I'm putting half a stone on.
But so when you're traveling to all these places like Romania and stuff like that, they're paying you travel and all that business. You're a full-time fighter at this point.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. So you was able to do that because. Also, you said you're a vegan, which I want to come back to.
Okay.
Did I hear that right? You said you're a vegan. Yeah. Because there's a sign over there. I didn't think a big lump like you would be a vegan, but we'll come to that. But like when you're traveling to all these places, is it as simple as like you just fly there a couple of days before, turn up, have a fight, straight home, and just get on with it?
Yeah, exactly that. If we're fighting on a Saturday, for example, you fly out there maybe a Wednesday. If they want to do some promo work or video shoots and stuff like that, you fly out there on a Wednesday. Thursday. More photos and stuff like that. Fridays, obviously the weigh-in, you'll go to the weigh-in and have a little event there, and then Saturday fight. And more time, you're coming back, if you're lucky, you're coming back Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. There's times I finish the fight at 11 o'clock in the evening and they're telling us they're picking you up at the hotel at 2:30. So, yeah, exactly. So it's literally back to the hotel, grab your bags, and then you're back on a coach or a bus or a car, making an hour and a half trip back to an airport. And there's literally no rest. I'm limping into the through the security, through checking at the airport. Still, just had a shower, hobbling around, still buzzing from the fight. And obviously sometimes you get a bit nicer. But with me, because I've got kids in the family, I always wanted to actually get back as quick as possible. And after the fight, you just want to get back and see the family and speak to the people about the fight and whatnot, rather than just being out in a foreign place. Without the kids and the missus there with it.
Yeah, I got you. And what do they look after you in Muay Thai is kind of what I'm getting at. Because, like, obviously, if you're Canelo Alvarez, for example, whose photo's on the wall, by the way, if you're a boxer earning 30 million a fight, you're getting looked after, right?
Oh, yeah, course,
but Muay Thai, you've kind of said it a little bit, like, do they just sort of like, thanks for coming, shove you on the coach, see you later?
Sometimes it's a bit like that. They do, obviously, there is, really nice hospitality in terms of putting up in nice hotels and food. You don't have to reach in your pocket for anything, anything you need when you're out there is provided for. And then, as you said, once the show's over, it's a case of, well, every extra day that you're staying over there is costing the promoter. So they're not the biggest of organisations. So, of course, as much as they can, they want you in and out.
Yeah, get on that coach, see you later. Yeah,
exactly.
But, like, let's get back to the vegan, because that fascinates me. Like, you're a big old lump, right? Yeah. And, like, when you think vegan, I mean, not everyone, someone probably comment and tell me, but like when I think vegan, you think sort of frail, little kind of like, he ain't eating pads, he ain't doing nothing, he's nothing to worry about. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm half fucking about, but like, how's that come about, mate? I'm assuming you wasn't a vegan because you said when you were fighting.
Yeah. When I first started, I wasn't. No, I turned vegan, strict vegan, 2008, 2009, when I was actually fighting.
Okay, way back.
Yeah. I always wanted to, try it and, read some things about meat and dairy and stuff like that and thought, okay, let me actually try. For a time there was just fish only, and then went on to actually just strict no fish, no eggs, no dairy, no nothing at all. And that for me was good. I was eating obviously lots of fruits. There used to be a market that I'm going to go to now. I've been going there for years. I get like 2 boxes of fruits and veg out there and chop up and make my own natural juices and put my spirulina and all the little products into it as well. And but for me, I think my size still came from too much carbs.
Right.
That for me has always been a weakness. Bread and rice. I've got half a Turkish bread there, just sitting. Just every so often I'm just nibbling on bread. But yeah, that for me was where I'm still getting my energy or my size and bulk from is the excess carbs.
Yeah, because like as I say, vegan, like you don't expect like a fighter at all, even especially like a big guy that's a lump and whatnot. But what was the reason you got into veganism?
It's just more for my own thoughts of just wanted to just clean out my body, and I realised from doing it, and I was a lot more clarity. I had clarity of thought. I just felt a lot lighter and sharper at the time, just in my movements and stuff. I didn't feel sluggish from eating heavy food and just wanted to sleep afterwards. So that it was more on a personal reason as opposed to like save the animals kind of thing.
Yeah. That's interesting. You know why I say that? Because with COVID, where it was difficult, like the shops were a bit hard and it was like queuing and all that nonsense. I tried the carnivore diet. Okay. And I went so it was obviously the complete opposite. I was just eating like big steaks and all that kind of shit. And I felt good on that. Okay. And I'll tell you one of the reasons I say that is because the theory I've got on it is not set on this, but I wonder whether it's like, it matters so much what you're eating or whether it's more like an elimination diet. Do you see where I'm coming from? Where your body just doesn't have to focus on too many things. So it kind of gets good at flushing one thing out of it. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. Whereas, because as I say, I felt good. I lost about 2 kilos instantly. and then I kind of stabilised.
Okay,
and
okay.
I felt pretty clear on it. I mean, don't get me wrong, 6-7 weeks into it, I was missing fucking fruit and I wanted blueberries. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I ditched it.
So was that like strict meat or just like 90% meat in your...
Full animal products. So it was meat, eggs.
Okay.
I think I was, butter. I think I was having some cheese. I can't really remember, but it was strict. Nothing that didn't come from an animal.
Okay.
And I'd watched it on a podcast. I think his name's Jordan Peterson. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's been on Rogan.
Yeah,
I was listening to that. I just got into it, and I just felt good. But where it was COVID, it was just convenient. Do you know what I mean? Because I didn't have to stay in the shop and queue for ages. I knew what I was doing. I was straight there, get that straight out, sort of thing. But with the vegan now, is that you've stayed with it the whole time, have you?
Yeah. Now I eat fish occasionally, so it's not. No, I'm not no longer strict vegan.
Right.
Yeah. So we call it pescatarian to a certain point, because even though when I was vegan, I was missing fish.
Is that right?
Yeah. Salmon or ackee and saltfish or fried fish. Yeah, that was always.
Yeah.
I'll be ordering my veg rice or something, and I'm looking at the fish, and I was just like, oh, really. So now and again, I don't mind having a piece of salmon or some fish as well. So I'm not as strict as I was in the slightest. But yeah, I still feel good for it. As I said, it's still excess rice and bread and pasta and potatoes, which is why I'm still, 130 plus, right now.
Yeah.
Probably a bit more than that, but still good.
But you're still pretty fit though, right? I see you on the pads and whatnot, moving about. Yeah. It's not like, because some people give up fighting, don't they? And they're like, or get older or whatever, and they just, they look like someone who ate the person they used to be. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas you're obviously still able, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I'm still not, nowhere near the shape I was in that picture up there in terms of like sharpness and being as trim, but
maybe we'll put a photo on for it. But you barely look human in there. You look like a fucking crafted out of rock over there, bro. So
But I'm in the gym every day. I'm in the gym from early morning. I've got classes, got the fighters in here, so I'm still active, moving around with them.
Right.
And I'm holding pads. And the way I hold pads is, interactive pads. So I'm getting into it. It's not just static pads, 1-2 punch, one kick, one. I'm moving around and testing their guard, making them work. So I'm breaking the sweat every time I'm in, taking the pad session with all the guys. So I'm still active and still moving around.
Are you still fighting now? Because you said no, you're not. You're done. You are completely done.
You never want to say you're completely done. You always watch fights or see fights and think, I can still do this. I still want to do this. But just the thought of getting back into fight shape and doing all that fight training, it does not entice me in the slightest. But where the last year opening the gym, I just haven't been able to. Like, even if I wanted to fight, I know I wouldn't have the time.
Right.
Because it's taken so much. It took about a year and a half in terms of going through all the work, and I didn't have like a project manager doing all this for me, so I was doing everything. So it's a completely new experience from fighter or even as a coach to actually running everything and trying to, lead on everything. Obviously the builders were in here doing their stuff, but I was doing all of the project management stuff, speaking to the solicitors, the sound engineers, the structural engineers, going through the letting agents and everything. Going
fun time that, innit?
It's been so much. Obviously, I've learned a lot, but it's been intense. And it took. When did we get we found this place January 2023, and then we didn't sign a lease until March 24, and that was going back and forth with the letting agents, with the solicitors, going through all the engineers, getting all the the tests done and stuff, because there's flats upstairs, so we had to make sure that everything was on point. And
right.
the landlord for this is a big big organisation, so they've got their professional surveyors and stuff like that. So we had to make sure every single thing was on point, and I did it all myself. Me and the missus went through it. So even if I wanted to fight, there wasn't the time to do it.
Right.
Dedicating twice a day training, 6 days a week. It
not practical.
No, it's not practical.
And how old are you now?
43.
43, so that's a good time anyway, right? You're still fresh, you can still do it, and you've done it, right? You're heavyweight champion of the world. That's kind of like completed it, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
So even when I say to the missus or the family, I'm thinking about getting back into it. What do you say? Like, what for? You've done it. Like, you've won British titles, European titles, world titles. You fought around the world. You've seen it. You've got nothing to prove.
Yeah.
So that as well. But you always have that kind of fire, that especially when I'm active with the fighters. I see it and I'm like, I'll do this.
Yeah, but that's a good place to be, I think, isn't it? Yeah. Because it's better than like you see fight. How many times there's too many to name that'll be in that situation? Then go, fuck it, I'll do it. I'll have another run, and then they get knocked out 3 times in a row because they've got a business and they've got whatever. And like, who wants that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I got a message from one of these bare knuckle boxing organisations for me to, it's like, what would be your price to get in and do bare knuckle fights? And I'm like, hell no. I see the results of some of them fights, and you got faces that are burst open and swollen up and disfigured. And it's like, I don't need that.
Don't need that. I think it's hands as well. That fucking I had a bare knuckle fighter on shout out Pasha, Cyrus Rafi. He had a bare knuckle fight on the Saturday. And I think we sat down on like the Monday or Tuesday, and it was his hands. I kept fucking up. I kept shaking his hand. He was like,
exactly.
I was like, but yeah, I think that's for what, right? Unless you got a burning desire, what for? Because there's a guy I know as well who's thinking about doing a Lethway fight. You've heard of this, right? So for anyone who doesn't know, Art of 9 Limbs. So it's bare knuckle Muay Thai basically with headbutts, right? Which is a fun time. And in the old rules, I think it's changing a bit now, modernising. But the old rules, they used to be like you had 2 minutes to recover from a knockout. So you could knock me dead for a minute and a half, and if I can get up and I go, yeah, go on, I'll carry on. Like, come on, that's not, that can't be a good ending, that one, can it?
Crazy. But, but good luck to them.
Good luck to them, because they're going to need it.
Like you said, if you've got that desire to want to do it, then good luck to them.
Yeah, good luck. Because like one thing I saw coming in here today is the training, right? This is a no bullshit gym, right? This is serious. The sparring that was going on was serious sparring. Before we get to that and whatnot, like tell me about like what's it like to train for a Muay Thai fight at world level? How's the training go?
Training's hard. It's got to be hard. If you're training out in Thailand, them guys are training like, they're training like dogs twice a day, running twice a day, pads, constant pads, pad work, drills, techniques and stuff. Training's hard. When I was fighting my career, I did a lot of training in Amsterdam at Mikes Gym, training with guys Badahari, Alistair Overeem, Gokhan Saki, and I learned over there what hard training was. We was when I was over there staying in Melvin Manhoff's, one of his flats, and there would be like two sets of bunk beds in every room. So it's 3-bedroom house or 3-bedroom flat, 2 bunk beds, 4 guys in 3 bedrooms. So, there's 12 of these heavyweights or, guys from all over the world that are there. We're like dogs. Cycle to the gym or get picked up, go to the gym, and you're training twice a day, 6 days a week. So you'd be there on a Monday where we start 7 o'clock, 7 a.m., finishing at 11:30. So you're 4 hours solid training, Then you're back there in the evening from 6 o'clock till 8:30, and you're doing that from Monday to Friday. By Wednesday, you're literally back in the hotel. Your hands are hurting from punching and drilling so much. Your whole body's just wrecked. You're waking up the Thursday, and it's just like, you're in pieces, and it's just autopilot for the next days. So we do that Monday to Friday, train Saturday morning, you've got Saturday evening off, Sunday off, then you're back at it again, Monday again, and you're doing 6 hours a day, 5 days a week plus the Saturday. It's hard training.
That's no joke. Big guy, especially, that's quite funny as well. When you think you've got to go back and sleep in fucking bunk beds as well. That's fun, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
So we've got one of the fighters.
All right, one of the fighters. He's one of the guys I see sparring as I come in it.
House now. What are you doing? Sleeping in there? Huh? What are you sleeping in there?
I was just
texting. He's texting his missus on the sly in the room. I got you.
With the ladies. Yeah.
But he's, as I say, he was sparring when we come in, like no joke. Take us through like, what's a normal session in here look like? Because when I come in, that was like, these guys are at it, right? These guys are having it, proper sparring. And
we train, as I say, I've adopted a lot of, learnt from training in Thailand, I learnt from training a lot in Holland. And if you know training in Holland, they spar hard, and they do lots of drills. I learned that from Mike's Gym, the way that they drill a technique until you can do it without thinking. You'll go home and you'll be flinching in your bed when you sleep with just the drills of how much they drill it. But when we spar, we spar. So I want the training to simulate the fight. Not every session is crazy hard sparring, but I don't want when my fighters get in the ring, the first time they get cracked with a shot is in the fight. For their brain or their body just to go into shock and not really like, whoa, what was that? I've never experienced that. So they do get touched up when they're in there sparring. We go at it. We work, and we get guys coming down from other gyms, fighters that come down, they want to test themselves as well. So, we get some good rounds in there. And then, when we do the pad work, if you ever see some of my pad work where I'm putting the guys through the pad work, I'm trying as much as I can to simulate how it is going to be in a fight. So it's hard, it's aggressive, it's fast paced, there's incoming, you're going to get hit back, and that's what it is. So when you get into the fight, it's nothing new. So when my guys go into the fight, being in a hard, hostile environment, a fast-paced fight is nothing new to them.
Yeah, it's good because you said it there, like on your videos and stuff. Like that's how I first got sort of like aware of you. Do you know what I mean? I saw some of the videos, and they're good for anyone who doesn't know it. Go on the Instagram and see them because like you're sort of almost sparring with them whilst holding pads, aren't you? You're dropping a guy with a hook at one point, and I will come back for a session because I want to experience it and see what it feels like, But I feel like the reason I ask because there's a culture nowadays of like train smarter, not harder, which is obviously. You've got to train smart, right? Like back in the day, people standing in front of each other, taking brain cells. There's a balance, but you have got to train like that, right, for fighting, because it's too easy, I think, to sort of like, oh, we just touch spar and whatever. And like you said, you get in there the first time and you get cracked, and it's like, whoa, hold on a minute. You're getting ready for a fight at the end of the day. You got to make that sacrifice, ain't you? And
Unfortunately,
I've never trained in Holland for kick. I have, but not kickboxing. I've trained in Thailand. And it's very playful in ways, but the boxing sparring's hard, isn't it? Like when I sparred boxing out there, it was like, I did like, so they'd do like Muay Thai in the morning, and it was like playful and hey, and all that kind of stuff. But then when it was time to spar, or maybe it was the other way around, doesn't matter, whichever. But the boxing sparring, it was like Vaseline up, like and have a tear up, you know. And like, if you're not ready for that when you get into a fight, and we've seen fighters, I'm sure, that have got in there and sort of like they haven't done that properly before. Have you always been like that? Is what I'm trying to say. Have you always just like from day one, you've always sparred hard?
No, from when I first started in Tottenham, there was a bit more authentic Thai style in terms of like, you know, play. They did some kind of hard sparring. We had some of the guys, some of the kickboxers and a few boxers would come in there, you know. So we did have, you know, some heavy hitters in there, but it wasn't so much focus on that hard sparring that I didn't realise and learn until I went Mikes Gym. You know, they spar hard, and then so the first time I went out there, I remember within like the first couple of sessions, I learned, you know, as much as you got the Muay Thai style with your guard here, within the first 15 minutes, I think my guard changed from here to that, you know, and then, you know, you kind of realise, okay, that has to be instilled. Your hands have to be tight, you know, because when you're in there with punches, and Mike always used to say, he trains his fighters to be able to kick, be able to punch like boxers, but from a kicking stance and still use their kicks as well with it. So, you know, when it comes to punching, them guys, we punch. You know, and I train all my guys exactly the same. So when we're drilling hand combinations, you know, we punch, we punch.
Yeah,
as well as being able to kick, knee, move, and all the rest of it.
Yeah. Well, I think in Thailand, and you'll know this better than me, whether I'm right or not, is whether like they spar lighter, but I think it's more they fighting so often, right? It's to look after the body.
Exactly what I was about to say to you. Yeah, if you're fighting, you know, every week, you don't really need to be doing heavy sparring because, you know, your fight sharpness, your fight IQ is there because you're so active. Obviously, over here, when we're not fighting as often, we need to be making sure that we're getting that same sharpness through our training rather than fighting twice a week or every week. If you're doing that, you know, for years, you can't be doing hard sparring on a Wednesday and then trying to fight. I mean, like hard sparring and trying to fight on a Friday night or a Saturday night. It's not productive.
No, so. And did you go to Thailand to train and all that stuff as well?
Yeah.
Because what's that like? Because I'm imagining that's quite hard for you, like with your size and stuff. Like when I've been to Thailand, I'm pretty much the biggest guy in the gym. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm like sort of average size over here. Do you know what I mean? Like for you, what's that like? Do you have sparring or is it just like going in that bag?
It was literally pad work and having some of the Thai guys trying to hold pads up here and, you know, just continuous kicks and trying to get me to run as much as I can and, you know, tire me out and then, you know, 50 kicks on this side, 50 kicks just to tire me out, and then okay, now we'll do some pad work when you're shattered and the heat's burning down on you, and it's, you know, it's lovely. You love it. You know, that's why everyone goes out there. It's lovely.
Well, how many people do you know as well that go to Thailand? I'm going to train every day, twice a day. They do about a day and a half, and then they're fucking sitting on the beach with a pina colada and all that business because nothing gets done. But obviously, like in our time, like these days, there's more Muay Thai gyms. Like I can walk here, there's a Muay Thai gym. Do you know what I'm saying? Like back in the day when you started, was it that easy accessible or no?
Not as much, no.
Sorry, the reason I ask is I know you had your gym, but like I'm assuming there wasn't other gyms you could sort of like cross about and train and spar and all that.
Yeah, definitely not as many. Like nowadays, a lot of the gyms that are open are previous fighters. So obviously these guys were all training together in like
second generation sort of gyms.
Yeah. So that's what it's more. So it's more accessible now. It's become a little bit more popular as well. But back in the day, you know, to get like, and also like good quality gyms, you know, especially in this area now, not at all.
Yeah, because one thing that sticks in my mind, when I first started doing anything, I was like 10.
Yeah.
And it was Muay Thai was the first thing I did. I didn't fight because I was too young, I think. They weren't called into clubs at the time, but they're like what I would imagine is called an interclub. Do you know what I mean? I was too young to fight, so we used to do these whatever. It was a gym called Asterix, actually, down in Eastbourne. I don't know if you'd ever heard of them. Okay. But there was a guy, I forget the guy's name. If anyone knows, comment, because, you know, he was like a world champion or European champion Muay Thai or something. But it was very like, it was almost weird, do you know what I mean? Like no one knew anything about it, like, oh, this Thai boxing thing. And like, I don't see myself as that old, do you know what I'm saying? Like I was born in the 90s, so it's like, but you'd go in there, and I got into it because it was my friend's younger sister actually. She used to go with her mate and whatnot, and it was one of them deals, like, you know, we started doing it and we're 10 and whatever. Didn't stick with it because we was, you know, friends are drifting out and whatnot. But it was like, you'd go down this gym and it was like, a typical sort of stinky, dirty gym, and it was just like, this is exciting. Do you know what I mean? We'd spar and we'd do all that kind of stuff. The reason I bring that is like that was the only fucking Muay Thai gym I knew. Do you know what I mean? I didn't know anything. Like boxing gyms were fucking everywhere in London, innit? Do you know what I mean? Whereas like that was a bit like, you're doing what? Muay, what's that? You know what I mean? It was one of them deals. But
kickboxing.
Kickboxing. Oh, I see. Yeah, it was like one of them deals. But like that was, as I say, out of London a little bit. But I don't know if the gym's still there. If anyone knows, comment. I think someone said they might have gone, but either way, it doesn't matter. They used to go Thailand, and they'd have like stories of Thailand, and they might as well have been speaking about fucking Mars. Do you know what I'm saying? At the time, I was like, so like whatever. And you'd see what's the movie? You'll help me out with this. Ong Bak. There you go. That's it. Knowledge over there. But like when you was going to Thailand the first time, what sort of time frame are we talking?
2010 was the first time I went out there.
Oh, so not that early on. So fairly not recent, but you know, it was modernised.
My coach took us out there, and we was on like a training holiday. You know, so it really wasn't a holiday. We was out there. He wanted to give everyone the experience, and he's been doing it for years, to give everyone the experience of Thai training. So we was out there trying to keep up with the Thais, doing the 5-mile runs in the morning, doing the pad work with them before breakfast, and then back in the afternoon doing the training again. And we used to have a competition in the team, like who could last the whole 2 weeks, who could last the whole twice a day training.
Oh, right.
Who's now falling off, who do you see on the beach, who's struggling, for the training.
Oh, is it one of them like, my knees a bit sore, coach?
All of that, so we'd have a competition, and who'd be the winner at the end, who could actually last and do 2 weeks of the Thai training. So that's what I went out there, and then we would always go mid-March around Nikon on Tom Day and go to a U-tier and celebrating the Muay Thai festivals, and doing the Muay Baran training and stuff like that. So actually learning the authentic style of it. So that was my kind of first experiences, and going to some of the the hardcore gyms, but the authentic gyms out there. Kalpontip we went to, which I think is still running now. Sasi Prapar gym, which I don't think is actually still running now. And then learning authentic Muay Thai as opposed to going out to Thailand, exactly what you said, doing a bit of training and out on the nightlife and living up or on the beach or anything like that. We was, it wasn't a holiday.
No. Yeah, I mean, you're almost better off going and doing like a week after for holiday if you want, and you get your training done, because if you try and balance it, that ain't happening, is it? But like, do you do the Y crew and all that business in your fights?
Yeah, I used to. Not much now, because I done a lot more K1 fights.
But
when we first started, we had to learn the Y crew, the runway, and start, practicing and doing that, which was, it's an experience, learning the authentic Thai style. So
that's cool, isn't it? And what do you prefer training for you? Like, again, I touched on it before. With I'm assuming you got more sparring partners in Holland. Did you prefer Holland or Thailand?
Holland.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously I haven't got the, there's parts of Thailand which is amazing. That's why it's called Amazing Thailand. Which, the food, the weather, the smiles and everything. But in terms of training, which is benefiting me, it's got to be Holland. Because I've got, there's guys that are heavy hitters there, heavyweights there. And I'm seeing, the top professionals that I can relate to. The guys that I'd be watching on K1 or the early glory fights, I'm training with them guys, and I'm seeing them there, middleweights, heavyweights, and it's just, okay, this is the professional of what I want to be doing, and just absorbing as much of it as I can, and just sitting in the gym after training, just watching these guys train, and seeing Badahari just going through it, and Myrtle just going through it, and it's okay, this is the levels,
better flight to Holland as well, than Thailand.
You're there in 45 minutes. There's times I put my car on the boat, on the ferry.
Is that right? Yeah, just straight over.
Yeah, 5 hours on the ferry, and then obviously I've got my car over there rather than renting something. I'm living the life over in Holland.
Well, that's somewhere you got to get serious as well. Amsterdam, you have a good time in Amsterdam as well if you drift a bit, can't you? Fuck me, you got to put your head into some training. You might have a better time in Holland than fucking Amsterdam. But what's that like sparring with the boys like Badahari and all that business?
Yeah, that's hard.
I was going to say, is that what you think it is? Are they coming for it?
Yeah, they're coming for it. Yeah, that's hard.
Are they nice guys or whatever? Because Badahari, for anyone who doesn't know, look Badahari up. There's videos of him like slapping the guy in the hotel, and they're like, he's got a reputation of a bit of a lunatic, isn't he? Like, is he like that in person, or is he a good guy?
He's Badahari.
Is he? Yeah, prickly.
Yeah. He's just how he is. The rest of the guys, they're friendly. Dutch guys are very strong-minded. They're very hardcore. They don't fuck around. Excuse my language. They don't piss around when they're training. Excuse my language again.
Yeah, you say do what you like, mate. You're good on here.
They don't mess around when they're training. When they train, when they punch hard. When they spar hard. You might see there's a video that went viral with two brothers, Myrtle and his brother Fernando, and they were going at it. You would not believe these guys were blood brothers, same mum, same dad, going at it like to kill. But that's how it is over there. So Yeah, it's just tough. Everything they do is tough.
That's cool. Because I've never trained Thai or kickboxing or anything in Thailand, but I've grappled and stuff. And it seems like the Thai guys, the Dutch guys I've trained with, they do everything like 100% in the best way. Like when they train, they train. Yeah. When they have fun, they have fun. Yeah. When they rest, they rest. Do you know what I'm saying? They're just there for a good time. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, it's a different culture to Thailand, isn't it? Thailand, the people are very kind of peaceful, if you like, and it's a cultural change, isn't it? Like obviously you're getting on a fucking 12-hour flight for a start, like whereas you said Amsterdam's an easy one, and you can go there and back in the same day. Do you know what I mean? But they, I think it's. Well, I tell you what I've found from different places, like traveling around training. I've always found a benefit to training in different places. Like I like to go to America, I like to go here, I like to go there. Was you one of them too, or did you find Holland and be like, right, this is my place? Yeah, for me it was. I found Holland and I was like, yeah, because the gym, Mikes Gym, if ever I get the chance to go over there. Famous gym, Mikes Gym. Big shout over there, yeah. The gym's amazing. You know, he's got everything in there, everything you could possibly need. Is it still there? Yeah, it's still going. Yeah, it's still thriving, You know, he's got everything in there. So that for me was, was the place, and I knew, okay, I'm going over there and I'm getting fit. Well, not getting fit, I was already fit, but I'm getting the training that I need for my fights. You know, I'm getting the sparring that I need, because that was always one of the big problems for me, is getting, good quality sparring over there. And I'm going over there, every round over there, sparring is hard work. Or, on a Wednesday night, you'd get Mike come over and go, tomorrow being a bit earlier, you're sparring with Saki tomorrow. And I'll be like, he goes, you want to fight? Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, so I'll be there tomorrow morning. He's got that big, he's got the big laugh and stuff. It's like, you go, back to the house, and that evening it's just like, oh fuck, I've got Saki tomorrow, right? Or I've got the Reem tomorrow, or I've got both of them tomorrow. It's round robin sparring. It's like fun time. It's like, okay, sleepless night. Just like, okay, let's do it. Fuck it. That's why we're here. Let's go. Let's do it. That's what you do it. Yeah. And what's he like, Saki? Because he's obviously smaller in stature, isn't he? But how big is he? Is what I'm trying to say. He's 5'10". Is he? Yeah. He's 5'10". So he's not the biggest of guys, but he's rock solid. Yeah. As in, you like. Is he one of them? Yeah, because he ended up fighting in the UFC, didn't he? He fought in the UFC and also. He had 1 or 2 fights. Yeah, he won 2 fights. Yeah, he wasn't at his best when he was over there. He didn't get to kind of show what he's got. But yeah, Saki's dangerous. Saki's a dangerous guy. Yeah. His speed back then, 2012, 2013, his speed was lethal. Yeah. Oh my. And sometimes I think that smaller can be a benefit if you're using it right. Like Mike Tyson obviously was a small heavyweight, wasn't he? Do you know what I mean? Like if you get good at doing that for your style, there's a benefit to that, and it's a smaller target, it's fast, it's Can I just ask Jonathan, are you still there? Jonathan, do this, grab a little 20 seconds, just get. Yeah, of course, mate. Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Jonathan's one of the guys I saw sparring hard earlier, so he's just stand there, just crap like 20 seconds of us. Yeah, grab 20 seconds of us for a clip. That's it. I'll clip all this up anyway as well, mate. So we'll do it. But yeah, like as I say, Jonathan, shout out Jonathan over there. We'll link him in this at some point. But he was in his sparring, going through it. When I first come in the gym, it was like if you're looking for Muay Thai, this is the kind of place you want to be. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He was, I don't know who the other fella, give the other fella a shout out. Who's Sangam. He's got a fight coming up in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, that's what I was going to say. On the Muay Thai Mayhem show, John Jarvis and Paulo De Silva down in there you go. Kent. So they got he's got a fight coming up on that show. So yeah, they're putting in the work. We don't play. And what weight are they fighting at? He's at 65 kilos. Is he really? Because they look big for that to me. Do you know? I mean, they're in a ring, so that's a bit raised. So maybe I'm not seeing it. But that was like, that was no joke. It didn't seem like there was a time on the ring. It seemed like you was calling it. You was doing your thing. Yeah, we do it by eye and do it by experience. That was cool. So and I'll tell you one thing as well. You said at one point, you said last minute, and that was. I mean, they carried on for about another 15 minutes. Bless them. Do you know what I mean? So like, good luck to the guys that come in here for some sparring. But it was good. Like obviously after they sparred, I saw them doing the clinch work, the whole deal. Which clinch work, for anyone who doesn't know, is no fucking joke. Clinch work is a beast on the body. Yeah, that's tiring. Because do they do that in Holland? The clinch work, much, no, that's what I was thinking. Right, it's more K1 style, kickboxing style. Yeah, very Thai sort of. You don't see it much outside of Thailand, is what I'm trying to say, right? And like not too much, no. Yeah, because the thing that shocked me, and listen, I've only trained Thai. I've never fought Muay Thai. I've only trained it in Thailand and stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? Like whereas, like I'm there for a couple of weeks and I'm doing other training and I do a bit of that as well. But whenever I have done clinch work with people. Like they're strong guys, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I do a lot of grappling, like wrestlers are strong, all that kind of stuff. But they've got a particular type of strength, isn't they? That kind of postured up, like grab the back of the neck type strength. They've got real strong. I remember doing clinch work the first time when I went out to Thailand, clinching with some of these small Thais. And it's hard work. It's surprisingly, these guys are surprisingly strong. Yeah. So... Yeah, obviously where Sangam's got his fights pro-am, so he's going to be, clinching and elbows with elbow pads in his fights. So yeah, he needs to be working on the clinch to make sure he's ready. Plus the show he's fighting on,
Muay Thai Mayhem. For if you guys know John Jarvis, he's one of the top coaches in the country. He doesn't produce soft fighters or easy fights. So if you're going on one of his shows, you got to make sure your guys are on point, well schooled, well conditioned, and they come to fight. So we do our best to make sure we're the same.
That's cool, man. And obviously, like no one wants to lose, right? So if you're training to fight, you're training to win, isn't it? Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's no kind of don't worry about it, go home today. And as I said, I've said it a few times, but you come in here and there's no bullshit here, right? Like the videos are funny, but it's serious, isn't it? You come in here and
of course, it's serious work. As you know from experience, fighting's hard. And even if you win a fight, there's chances of picking up injuries. If you lose a fight, as I say, you're more than guaranteed there's going to be some kind of injuries. So as much as you can, you want to limit that and make sure you're in the best position. And fighting is hard. It's merciless. Your opponent doesn't care. The referee, he's only stopping the fight because he's paid to do that. Other than that, it's entertainment. Yeah. The crowd want to see blood. Your opponent is going to beat you if you're not on point. He's going to bully you. He's going to ragdoll you. He's going to batter you if you're not on point. It's a hard game. And I want these guys to kind of realize and recognize there's no mercy. There's no hiding place in the ring. If you haven't done the work in certain areas, it's going to show. Yeah. If you haven't done your cardio, at some stage in that fight, it's going to be tested. If you haven't done your ab work, it's going to be tested. If your technique's not on point, it's going to show. So you have to make sure the training is on point, and it's hard because being in the later rounds or the later minutes or later seconds of a hard fight is hard. When you get in there with someone who hits hard, is on it, you're tiring and fading and you're looking at your opponent and he's bouncing in front of you and he's, you can see the almost possessed look in his eyes, when they're coming at you. It's not fun. If you're not on point, it is not fun. That's why I push these guys so hard.
I'll tell you what, like you said there's no worse feeling than if you're tired and the opponent's got that look in his eyes where he's fresh. And there's no better feeling the other way when you can see him fading and you go, I'm feeling pretty good here.
Exactly, yeah. Or you can just feel the energy from the fighter who's, he's G'd up, he's coming into fight. And if you're not on point and you're kind of like, I'm starting to tire, how long is left in the round? And you can feel your opponent's coming through you, like he's punching, like he's trying to punch through you. He's into the clinch and he's, mauling up and you're having to fight just to survive. It's a horrible feeling. And
you can start feeling sorry for yourself, can't you?
Exactly
the fighters do. You can see it, like they kind of, not making excuses for themselves, but kind of going down that road, aren't they? Do you know what I'm saying? Like that kind of like, I'm tired. He's hitting me hard. There's a long time. Woo, and everything starts to fade. Like where it was here, and I'm not just saying it, I'd tell you if I thought it was shit. It's not obviously, right? It's heavy duty in here, but it's the right balance. It's not just like, because we've all been in gyms as well, where it's like, you're shit, that's shit, that's shit, that's shit, that's shit. And that can fuck it. It's too much. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas in here, there was a clash of heads at one point and you weren't having the feeling sorry for yourself. You was like, well, get on with it sort of thing. But it was a good mix because after I can see you talking to him and it's not like that situation of fucking useless, because that can defeat a fighter too, can't it?
Definitely, yeah. As much as a fighter needs to have that resilience, because if you choose a career as a fighter, you're always going to have people slagging you off. You can have people online slagging you. So you need to have that kind of resilience, as well as just being in the ring. Losing can be embarrassing, humiliating, getting beaten or getting knocked out in the ring. You have to have that, that resilience. So there are times I'm going to put it on them, because, the mental training as well as the physical training has to be the same. They have to be mentally strong to be able to, exactly what you just said, not be feeling sorry for themselves if it doesn't go their way, or if they get bad comments or bad feedback from people, or people online start trolling them. They need to be strong, so as much as the training is physical in terms of, the technique and all the rest, your mental side has to be on point. You can't be in the fight, throw a kick, get your leg caught and tripped up, and you can hear his crowd, he don't want to fight, he's crumbling. You need to be strong, or hearing the crowd cheering against you, especially if, if you're an away fighter, every shot that the home fighter lands, there's big cheers and big roars. That can be demoralizing. Yeah. You need to be strong to be able to be focused in that, be able to push out all of that, or even hear it and be like, it's not facing me. I'm focused, I'm winning this fight, I'm going through, my technique's coming through. Nothing throws you off, nothing phases you.
Yeah.
So as much as, as you said, I'm giving them that merciless, no mercy kind of talk. There's caring side to it as well, because I want the best for them. But as much as I can, I'm going to simulate what you're going to experience. You're going to experience people that don't care, an opponent that doesn't give a shit. If you get knocked down, he's standing over you, and the referee's kind of pulling him away to make it seem like it's, it's for back to your feet. But it's hard.
Yeah.
So that's what you got to be used to.
You got to be ready for it. Yeah, well, it's that old saying, isn't it? Train hard, fight easy. There's a lot to that, isn't there? Do you know what I mean? Like, because fight night, anyone who's ever fought in anything will know that that nervous energy is different than in the gym anyway, isn't it? So it doesn't matter how fit you are, you're still going to be tired. Do you know what I'm saying? It's one of them deals. But going back to like your career and stuff, talking about change room and stuff, how was you in the change room before? Because that's when a lot of people kind of like...
How was what?
In the changing room, like beforehand. Because there's a lot of different personalities that come out. You see people bouncing off the walls, jumping up and down. You see some people kind of sitting, meditating, and everything in between. What was you like before a fight?
I always used to get nervous before fights, and I remember like being in the change room, I'd go piss about 9 or 10 times. Like, literally every 5 minutes I'm going piss. I'm like, how is there still more water coming out? Like, I'm barely drinking anything. I think obviously that's my body kind of subconsciously getting ready for battle. You know, you clear out everything you don't need and you're getting ready for battle. And then for me, it was just either playing music, I'd have my headphones on and just kind of relaxing and trying to just focus on, you know, you're obviously not letting the nerves overcome you, but just, you know, channeling that and just focus on, okay, yeah, you know, you've done the training, what the game plan is, just seeing it again and just visualizing it over and over again beforehand, chilling out with, you know, your coach or whoever's there in the changing room with you, watching some of the fights if they've got a screen in the changing room, or, you know, seeing the fighters coming back and just trying to relax and just focus and save the energy. A few times, you know, I try and sleep backstage, but, you know, you've got the nervous energy, you can't really kind of shut off. Obviously, it's going to be uncomfortable, if, you know, on the floor or mats or in a little chair or a wooden bench or something like that. So for me, it's just more so just relaxing, focusing, you know, just trying to just keep the energy there and then hold it, you know, that focus and that concentration, and then, you know, remember why you're doing it. You know, because at some stage, for me, I used to get, you know, obviously the nervous thoughts, do I really want to do this? Why did I do this? Why did I sign up for this? And you're like, no, why are you thinking like that? You love this. You know, you get these thoughts all the time, but, you know, you have to control it, control the energy down, you know, and just going along with it. And then remember all this hard training you've done and, you know, the sparring, why you're doing this. And, you know, someone's got to get back for all that hard sparring that I had to do. Someone's got to feel this pain. And then like, oh yeah, no, yeah, I'm up for this. And then I think at some stage during like, between the change room and going off to the ring, I'd, you know, do like, because for me I was very big, and my coach was also very big on the psychology behind fighters as well, and learning how to, for me it was like learning how to anchor, because there was times when it wasn't my strongest point, being the mental side of fighting. So for me it was always practicing and learning how to anchor. So I'd do certain techniques just to anchor my mind to, okay, I'm that rock, I'm that guy that's going in there to win this fight, unbreakable, unstoppable, super fit, and I'll go through the certain anchoring techniques and then get in there and then just be gone.
That's interesting. Did you work with mental coaches and stuff like that?
I did. A few times, yeah. I've done some sessions with Vinny Shawman, who's very
No
good.
way. Shout out Vinny. He's been on the podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
Great guy.
Vinny Shawman's a top guy. And there was another guy, apologies, but I can't remember his name, that I did a couple of sessions with as well. And as well doing a lot with my coach as well. And then just being fascinated by, you know, the mind and the depths of the mind and what it can do and how it can power you or inhibit you so much, and just reading about it, watching different stuff on YouTube, and, you know, just learning about it a lot. So for me, it was, yeah, that's been a massive journey. And then I see it now where I'd like to read fighters, read people, study fights and everything, you know. So I'm not just watching fights for the entertainment, I'm watching it for, you know, the skill set, but also the body language, the mindset when you're watching the weigh-ins, and, you know, like even like we do you see it on TV, the gloves are off, and just watching the psychology behind the hand movements, the eye movement and everything. So I just try and study as much of it as I can, just to learn, you know, how the mind works, and because it's so immense and it has such a big impact in the fight game. So that for me was, you know, really, really important. And
it's interesting you say that, because like at the top level, the physical side of things, people are close, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? When you get to that elite level, there's not an awful lot in it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? If you watch them spar in the gym, guys that have got nowhere near the top will be giving world champions a hard time, but it's different under the lights, isn't it? And like you said there, the gloves are off. There's the famous one, obviously, with George Groves and Carl Froch, isn't it?
The handshake and
and push and pull and all that stuff.
We can all do this.
We can all do a bit of a push and pull, but it's like, that was a big win for Carl Froch, is what I'm trying to say, innit? And the difference between the first fight and the second fight of them two was like night and day, wasn't it? And the psychological side of that, to me, more than any other fight I've ever seen, other than obviously like maybe a prime Mike Tyson used to terrorize his opponents, but like, in terms of a change from one fight to the next, that was where you'd sort of look at that as accrediting it all to mental, really, right? That was a big difference. And you like, obviously we spoke about Vinny again. Shout out Vinny, he's been on the podcast, great guy. Speaking to him on the podcast, I won't get too, because I don't want to butcher what he's saying. Like, you can watch the podcast, but he's you listen to him speak and how he was talking about what he does with fighters, and it's amazing, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, and you've experienced it firsthand. So like, I mean, well, you told me what it's like, but is that something that you looked at in a way of like, you do strength and conditioning, you hit the pads, you do your sparring, you need that as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's a bigger part of the fight game. You know, I always believe that the mental side of fighting is 90%. The physical side is only 10%. And you know, how many fighters or people actually train the mental side 9 times more than they do the physical side? They don't. A lot of them, you know, it's the cardio, it's pad work, it's the sparring, all the rest of it. But don't actually tap into the power of their mind, how it's working for them, how it's working against them. And you see it with fighters. You know, you can see it, their body language based on their mindset and how confident they are or the things that they're saying, you know, backstage or, you know, and as a coach, you need to know these things. You need to be able to read your fighter and see certain things that they're saying or that they're thinking without them saying it, because they might not want to say it. They might be a bit, you know, I don't want to look weak, I don't want to look, you know, there's times when if they're not confident, you need to be able to, okay, right, he's not feeling the most confident, okay, I need to tap into this, I need to speak to him about this, get him thinking about this, you know. But you need to know that as a coach. But, you know, as a fighter, obviously for yourself, but as a coach, those are the kind of things you have to know.
Yeah.
You know, the psychology behind the fighting.
Yeah, and what are you like as a coach in the change room? Because obviously, like when you're a fighter, you've got so much on your mind. There's a lot of things going on, and you're not so much aware. I mean, in a way you are, but you're not aware of other things, are you? You've got so much stress on for like what's coming. But as a coach, like you might have multiple fighters fighting in the night and stuff like that. Are you different because of your fight experience? Do you think?
I'm not sure. I don't know how I describe it. I just, obviously, as for me, as a coach, I'm, you know, the Army General. You know, you got to be there and just overseeing everything that's going on. So, you know, anyone else is in the change room, just making sure everything's on point for the fighter. You know, they're in the best state of mind. Everything's, you know, there's no issues. I'm, you know, trying to speak to the runners. You know, the runners might come in and trying to have a word with the fighter. No. What's the issue? What's going on? You know, just making sure everything's running like clockwork. You know, they're getting the fight gloves on time. Their hands are wrapped on point. You know, they're warming up at the right time. How many fights are left to go? Everything's on point for the fighter. And that's for my job, just to make sure that they're perfectly, you know, in the right state of mind for fighting that, because they're going through the big stresses. You know, as much as I'm there leading the ship, I'm not the one getting in the ring. So I need to make sure that everything for them is set so they're in the ring in the right state of mind and ready to do their job.
It's funny, the reason I ask, I was in a corner once recently, last minute, like the day before, my mate's corner let him down, boxing match. He asked me if I could do it for him. I said, yeah. But it's a different experience, isn't it? Like, like obviously I know how to hold pads, I know how to do all that kind of shit, like, but whatever. But getting in there, like before, it's kind of a strange feeling because you don't have the same nervous energy as when you're about to fight, but you're still in that situation. You know, you can see, with my mate in this situation, shout out Tom Farag, CWMA podcast, but he was, you know, he's getting nervous, right? And I'm kind of, you're not nervous because you're not fighting, but at the same time, obviously, that's your boy, you want him to win. It's a strange thing for me. And like, don't get me wrong, I didn't train him for the fight. I just showed up and sort of like, you know, held the towel and like wiped his face down if he needed it. And he won, so I'm 1-0 as a cornerman. But yeah, it's a mad experience that. I found that very kind of different to what I thought it was going to be because, and you've obviously done it loads more than me, but I didn't feel as involved, if that makes sense. Do you know what I'm saying? It was almost like watching it from the outside. Do you see where I'm coming from with that?
Yeah, I get it. For me, I do feel involved because I'm there training them on a daily basis. So, you know, I'm watching all their training and seeing them going through it. So when it gets to the change room, you know, I'm angst up with them. I'm in the change room. I'm almost like pacing up and down, ready to fight myself and wanting them to, obviously you want them to win like a, you know, load of burning kind of, you know, you're there with it, living every step with them because you've been doing it in the training, especially also when it's my son fighting. You know, that for me is even more so. You know, it's like I'm itching to get in there. Like
that's different, isn't it? That's scary. Like, how old's your son?
Yeah, he's 19 now. 20,
so he's a young man, but he's still, you know, young man, but it's still your boy, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
He's still your baby. So it's like, well, what's that like being in the corner for your son?
It's I love it. Don't get me wrong, I love it. You know, I like the fact that he's got himself up to the level where he's fighting professional. His last fight was out in Romania, where he won against, you know, the local home fighter, the fan favourite, and Yeshua went out and dealt with it. You know, but it's still that nerves. You know, you're proud, but you're nervous. You see your son. You know, it's your son at the end of the day. You know, he gets a shot, or you see him in pain. You know, your heart stops. You know, it's that kind of, you know. But you remember, okay, no, he's done his training, he's done his work. You know, but so I'm angst up as much as he is. Like, you know, if your son was going to fight on street, you know, like you can imagine what you know. I want to fight as well. We're fighting. You're fighting. We're fighting. But you know, you have to just remember. Okay, no, he's done his training. He's done his work. You know, be confident and then just be professional and just try and treat it like just another fight or another fighter. Okay, watching the fight from you know, taking myself out of the emotional kind of I'm his dad to going back to, okay, no, I'm the coach. Okay, what's this fighter doing? His opponent's doing this. Okay, he needs to work on this. All right, end of the round, I need to be giving him the right instructions, giving him water, and just keep it 100.
What's his name?
Yashua.
Yashua.
Sam. Shout out.
Yashua Sam. Shout out Yashua. I was going to say, is he a big old lump like you as well? Is he heavyweight?
Yeah.
So he's going to be another heavyweight world champion or what?
Yeah, definitely.
Good man. That's nice, mate. But one thing I forgot to ask you earlier, like you touched on it with Dylan White. What was that like fighting him? Was he good as a kickboxer?
Yeah, he was relentless.
Was he?
Yeah, he was relentless. I remember both fights. I don't get me wrong, that wasn't me. I wasn't at my fittest, but I was in there to fight, train hard, so I can't take it away from that. But he just didn't stop. And I remember hitting him with shots, and the second fight, especially with low kicks, I'm thinking, how's this guy not stopped? Like, he just kept coming forward. He did not stop. Relentless. To the point of, like, at one point I was thinking, is this guy possessed? Like, he just didn't stop coming forward, and yeah.
Because he was like, I know a bit, like I was amateur boxing, like when he was amateur, I think it was before or around the time he was amateur, obviously not the same weight or anything, but like I think he had to turn pro, right, because of his kickboxing background. When they found out he had a kickboxing background, he couldn't fight as an amateur, or he couldn't fight as an amateur under a certain amount of fights. There was something to it, so I think that's why he turned pro early. I think it was because of his kickboxing.
I know he had a couple of amateur fights because he fought AJ.
Beat AJ, yeah.
Yeah, beat AJ as an amateur, so he had a few fights and then he turned pro. But I know, not so much I know, I'm thinking more so for him, he left the kickboxing ranks to go to boxing because, you know, there's more money in the boxing game, and then obviously if that's what you're doing, you want to be turning pro as quick as possible and going through the ranks. And then, you know, he did have experience as a kickboxer, so yeah, he was a solid fighter.
He's had one MMA fight as well. Have you seen that?
Yeah,
it's like a 6 second. Yeah, I don't think it's even 20. I think it's like 8 seconds knockout. And I don't think I'm exaggerating either. I think it's like an 8-second knockout.
I remember that guy ran at him. He just, you know, kind of put his chin down through a right hand, and the guy just
thanks for coming.
But
that's I mean, he's obviously gone on. He's still fighting now as well, I think, Dylan.
I know he fought recently out in, was it Gibraltar? I'm not sure what he's doing after that, but yeah, he had a win out in Gibraltar, and then he's made a name for himself. You know,
Big time,
From where he started, you know, I remember watching him fight in amateur kickboxing events in Tottenham Sports Centre, and then up to, you know, fighting, when did he fight Fury up at Wembley? Was it Wembley or Tottenham?
Wembley, I think it's Wembley.
96,000, you know, he's gone leaps and bounds, so yeah, good luck to him.
So shout out Dylan White as well.
Sure,
but mate, listen, I really appreciate you doing this. This has been really great, man. Cool. Thank you so much. Before we finish,
Squeeze the Neck podcast.
Before we finish,
go ahead.
I always ask people a question, and considering where we are in London, I think you're going to break my heart on this one and give the wrong answer. But which football team you support?
I'm Scouse.
No.
And I'm Red Scouse.
No.
Yeah.
That's by the way, for anyone who watches this podcast, you'll know that's the worst answer you could have possibly give. What the fuck, bro?
What, you're an Arsenal fan?
No, I'm Chelsea, man. What the fuck you supporting Liverpool for?
When I was young growing up, everyone asked me this, why do you support Liverpool? When I was young growing up, watching BBC Football Focus, John Barnes, what was it, 87 when he left from Wolves and went over to so I used to watch every Saturday afternoon, 12:15, Football Focus, John Barnes. I was like, oh, this guy, okay. Someone that looks like me on TV, John Barnes. I used to just follow John Barnes. John Barnes, where was he playing? Liverpool. And then from there, I just became, that was my team.
But you know, like, it's not too late to change and support Chelsea. You know that, right?
Silly. Chelsea, come off it, man. You know, but from now, Chelsea, I'm not so bad. I'm nothing against them. But so now Saturday, I'm watching the scores. There's 3 scores I look for. Liverpool won, Arsenal lost, West Ham lost. As long as it's that, I'm good.
We're all good. That's good. Mate, well.
So you heard it again. You'll never walk alone. Come on, now.
We might cut this bit out. We might axe this podcast and never come back to it. But mate, as I say, I really appreciate you, man.
Thanks
Thank you so much. No, I appreciate you. I always finish with a fist up like this, mate. Squeeze the neck. Boom.